Earthquakes are one of the most devastating natural disasters that plague the Earth. They cause millions of dollars worth of damage every year, claim the lives of thousands of people, and wipe out entire cities. The worst thing about them is that they're unpredictable. Scientists might be able to predict where they might happen, however, they've never been able to predict when they will be happening. So today, we're going to take a look at 6 massive earthquakes waiting to happen. Number 6. Delhi Earthquake. In the past 2 years, India has been subjected to 64 minor earthquakes with a magnitude that varied from 4 to 5. These might be aftershocks, and they cause practically little to no damage to the city. However, they're a major red flag for a much bigger natural disaster that's due to happen anytime soon. Since Delhi is located in a very high-risk zone, geologists predict that the chances of a massive earthquake happening in the capital are very high. What makes the occurrence of a powerful earthquake even more alarming is that Delhi is densely populated with 18.9 million people living in the city, so an event like this is going to be catastrophic for millions of people. Number 5. Vrancea Earthquake. Romania, or more specifically the county of Vrancea, is prone to powerful earthquakes as a result of its relatively high level seismicity. Throughout history, the county has been struck by countless earthquakes with magnitudes over 7, and most of them ended up in tragedies as they killed hundreds of people and injured thousands. Vrancea was subjected to one of the strongest earthquakes in the entire continent of Europe at a 7.9 magnitude in 1802. The earthquake was named the Great Earthquake of Good Friday and was felt across 2 million square kilometers in Eastern Europe. The aftershocks of the earthquake, which measured a meager 5.5, were a lot less powerful, yet still very destructive. The earthquake destroyed the cities of Ruse, Varna, Vidin, caused fires to break out, monasteries to collapse, and it was so powerful that it caused walls to crack all the way in Russia. Scientists have made many attempts to predict the next large Vrancea earthquake, and according to their calculations and predictions, that earthquake is long overdue. A 1999 study predicted that there was a high probability of the earthquake happening between the years 2006 and 2011, while a 2006 study predicted that it would happen between 2005 and 2010. The predictions might have been miscalculated, however. It's believed that a massive earthquake is on the horizon, and only time will tell when it's going to happen. Previous earthquakes have caused structural damage to old buildings in Romania, making them extremely vulnerable to future earthquakes. To make matters worse, a large number of the population aren't prepared for a natural disaster the likes of a powerful earthquake. Number 4. Tokyo. In 2011, the entire world watched as Japan experienced the second most powerful earthquake to happen in the 21st century. With a magnitude of 9, it was considered the most powerful earthquake to ever happen in the country, and it triggered a tsunami that even destroyed what was left intact by the earthquake. The earthquake was followed by foreshocks that measured 7.2 and hundreds of aftershocks that were equally as destructive. The Japanese might have rebuilt the devastating destruction that they've experienced as a result of this earthquake, but unfortunately, it's been predicted that they're about to face yet another destructive earthquake in the upcoming years. This massive earthquake is expected to happen within the next 30 years, and we're saying expected, we're talking about a 70% probability of it happening. It's said that it's going to be the most powerful earthquake of the century, which is why Japan has been preparing for it for years. Skyscrapers have been built with shock absorbers that will prevent them from collapsing, while the Tokyo government has published a 338-page manual with instructions on what to do in case of it happening. Number 3. The Hayward Fault. According to a plethora of research that took years to conduct, scientists have determined that among all the faults located in the Bay Area of San Francisco, California, the Hayward Fault is the most dangerous of them all. So when it comes to the earthquake that might rupture the fault, their predictions are unsettling to say the least. It's been calculated that there's a 31.7% chance of the occurrence of an earthquake with a magnitude of 6.7 within the next 26 years, and it won't be the only one. Scientists also predict that there's a 63% probability that another earthquake will occur in the Bay Area within the same time period of the other one, further destroying the region. The clock is ticking for the Hayward Fault earthquake, and given the fact that it's one of the most heavily populated areas in San Francisco and is home to around 2.4 million people, it's expected that the damage will be beyond belief. Many of the structures and buildings will be weakened after the main earthquake, and if for some miraculous reason they don't collapse, it's expected that the aftershocks will most likely cause them to collapse. In terms of the death toll, the USGS estimates that the Hayward Fault earthquake will kill around 800 people, injure 18,000, and the damage will cost the country a staggering $82 billion. Number 2. The Big One. When it comes to California, it's safe to say that this state is no stranger to earthquakes, especially ones with high magnitude. Throughout the years, California has been struck by a plethora of earthquakes that led to unimaginable destruction. Take the 1989 San Francisco earthquake as an example. It was caused by a slip along the San Andreas Fault and destroyed a lot of communities in the region, more so the Marina District in San Francisco, as the majority of the structures were built on sandy soil, making it vulnerable to earthquakes. In total, the 1989 earthquake cost the United States an estimated $6 billion in property damage, killed 63 people, and injured around 3,800. Sadly, this isn't going to be the last major earthquake that California is going to experience. It's expected that a destructive earthquake is going to happen anytime soon, and they're already issuing survival guides to brace everyone for the big one. It's expected that the big one will have a magnitude of 7.8 or above. Keep in mind that the 1989 earthquake had a magnitude of 6.9, and it was considered one of the strongest earthquakes to strike California since the 1906 earthquake, which also had an astronomical magnitude of 7.9. Despite not being able to predict the exact time that the big one will happen, scientists have released a set of predictions that can give everyone an idea as to what they should expect. They've predicted that since massive earthquakes like this one happen anywhere between every 45 to 230 years, and California hasn't had one in 161 years, it's estimated that it will certainly happen within the next 30 years. And when it does happen, it's also estimated that it will claim the lives of 1,800 people, displace 270,000 people from their homes, and injure 50,000 people. Number 1. The really big one. If California's big one is estimated to be one of the most powerful earthquakes that will happen, can you imagine what will Cascadia's earthquake, which has been coined the really big one, cause in terms of damage and destruction? The Cascadia subduction zone, which stretches from Northern California to British Columbia, was once used to powerful earthquakes. In a matter of 10,000 years, around 41 strong earthquakes struck this zone and caused great destruction. Some of these earthquakes had a high magnitude of 9.0, and they continued to happen until they suddenly didn't. The last earthquake was on January 26th in 1700. It's believed that this earthquake came from Japan and caused the coastline to drop several feet. Since then, the Cascadia subduction zone hasn't been subjected to a single earthquake. Or, in other words, the pressure has been building up for all these years, and the earthquake is bound to happen within the next 50 years. According to scientists, if only the southern part of the subduction zone gives way to the earthquake, it's expected that the earthquake will have a magnitude of 8 to 8.6, which is incredibly high. But if the whole subduction zone gives way, they estimate that the magnitude of the earthquake will be between 8.7 and 9.2. The impact of the earthquake will be felt throughout the Pacific Northwest, and around 7 million people will be affected. And that's all the massive earthquakes waiting to happen that we have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And before you go, if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to Weeklypedia and click that notification bell to be alerted whenever we upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.